baby. Mug life, baby, yeah, we rockin' the booth. We mugging for life, we mugging for truth. Smaulgld here, and he's spitting the facts about the pumper community and the way that they act. We mugging for life, we ain't playing the games. We all know the lies and we all know the names. Come on, mugging for life, mugging for life. Smaulgld.
Hello and welcome to another Smaulgld live stream. It is Sunday the 31st of March 2019. It is the final day of March. And tonight's topic is SEC punts on Bitcoin ETFs again. Welcome Smaulgld, mug stackers and game changers. I've got some good news on the mug front. So we're going to start with that because the Smaulgld mugs, excuse me, the entire entourage of those mugs are 50% off tonight and tonight only over at the Smaulgld store. So we're going to give a quick run through those mugs so you can take a look at them. I'll give you the links. And then at the end of the program, if you have any hesitations about why you should buy a Smaulgld mug, we're going to play the famous 18 reasons why you should buy a Smaulgld mug. So stick around for that. But let's take a look first what we've got in the way of March mug madness. Now we have the Smaulgld beer Stein, the very classic Smaulgld beer Stein, normally selling at $24.50, now 50% off. Make sure you put that code in there when you check out. That brings the mug down to a very attractive under $15. We've also got the very popular Smaulgld Espresso mug. It's a little tiny mug there, but that is half price from the $16.95 price. It's a clever looking little mug, and it's got the Smaulgld on the flip side, cryptocurrencies, gold, silver, and economics. And then, of course, there is the Smaulgld This Guy mug. And there it is on the front. It's the classic, super classic design. Selling normally for $18.95 with shipping. Well, not with shipping, you add shipping, but now 50% off. So that becomes a great deal. On the back of that mug, it says This Guy. For those who don't know what this guy means, you might want to go back and listen to who is this guy, Smaulgld, on the SGT report. And that mug very attractively priced now, half price from $18.95, half price on that one. What else have we got in the way of mugs? Well, there's one of my favorites, the Smaulgld frosted mug. Doesn't quite do it justice to picture. That's an expensive mug. But when you get 50% off, it's a really good price. And that's a mug that you put in the freezer. Gets a double frosting on it. That mug is 16 ounces. The beer Stein is a whopping 22 ounces. Holds 22 ounces of your favorite beverage. And then, of course, there is the ever classic Smaulgld travel mug. Normally $27.95. Again, half price tonight, ends today. If you're interested in that mug, it's a good time to pick up these mugs. Do it now so that you don't forget, because tomorrow they will be regularly priced, and well, those prices are reasonable, but they are clearly at bargain price today. And remember, when you are leading the mug life, you're living large. There it is. Let me give you the links for that, and then we'll get right into the program. And remember, stick around at the end, and we are going to play 18 reasons why you should buy a Smaulgld mug. So as we're chatting here, I'm going to be putting in the chat box the links. The first one coming up, you can click directly on it, is the Smaulgld This Guy mug. You can click there, and you'll get taken directly to that mug. You can check out the specs. You can even change the colors on some of these mugs. I don't advise you to do that, but you could do what you want. The next one is the Smaulgld beer Stein. This is the 22-ounce mug. There's your link for that one. Then the Smaulgld travel mug. That's the one with mug life. There you go. We'll leave you this link. Here we are. The Smaulgld travel mug, 50% off. Don't forget it. And then the Espresso mug, coming right up, $16.95, but half price tonight. Get that one up there for you. Go check out these mugs. What else do we have? The Smaulgld frosted beer mug. You put that in the freezer, you get double frosting. You use your finger, you wipe off the frost, and there's still another level of frosting on that mug. It's quite good. And finally, if you just want to browse the Smaulgld store for other Smaulgld related products like dog bowls and erasers and pens and paper and things of that nature, t-shirts, of course, hats. There you go. By the way, when you do purchase your mugs, make sure you send pictures. I haven't received pictures in a while. I had a stream of pictures of people with their dogs, people with their cats and their mugs, but recently I haven't received anything. Anne had promised to send a picture of her mug with her 5 cats, but I have not received it. All right, let's get into... We all love our dogs, says Dalaville. It is right. And cats. Okay, so let's see what's going on in the world here before we get to this SEC determination, well, lack of a determination on the 2 pending Bitcoin ETFs. We've got a great Moronica coming up. You're going to love that one. And by the way, at the end of the month, which means next week, I'm going to have to start putting together charts for Indian gold and silver reserve imports, Kazakhstan gold reserves, Chinese gold reserves, U.S. mint number and Perth mint number. So it's going to be a busy week on the data front, or the data front, whatever you prefer. So we'll get some charts out next week, so make sure you're subscribed and all ready to go. And also visit the Smaulgld site, because that's where we have a lot of the charts, and you can do some research there and check out the charts. If you missed, sometimes it's hard to find the charts that you want on a stream, because you have to toggle back and forth, and then chart goes away as the video plays unless you stop it. Okay, let's take a look now at the stories that we are following tonight. So first of all, the gold and silver markets, as you know, they do open on Sunday evening, and they've done so tonight, and pretty much flat. Nothing to report. Gold at $12.91.30 and silver at $15.10. So both are flat. A little bit of movement, $3 in platinum. That's up $3 to $850. But again, that's not really much of a movement. Palladium up $2. So no movement whatsoever on the precious metals at the moment. Over in the cryptocurrencies, similar, not much of movement there either. Although Bitcoin is grinding higher the last couple of days. It's at $4,105. It's pretty much flat the last 24 hours. Ethereum, as Seamus would say, is at $141.55, down 0.36%. XRP is just a shy under 31 cents, and that's pretty much flat. EOS is at $4.19, up 1%. Litecoin is flat at $60.71. Bcash is flat at $168.69. Stellar is also flat at just under 11 cents. Cardano down 2.5% to just under 7 cents. And Dash making a pretty big move today, up 8.18% to $108. Privacy coin Monero at $55.77. That's up 4%. And Tezos, the big winner today, up 14% to $1.07. And Ethereum Classic at $4.82. And Ann's BAT, the basic attention token, is at 28 cents, up about 2%. Let's get into some crypto news. Well, first there's a bit of gold news. Not really news, just a little tidbit here. I don't know if you guys know Kuz Jansen. He writes for Bullion Star. Just a nice little piece of history here. Money Aristotle writes, says Jan. He calls himself his actual name now. He used to be Kuz Jansen, but his real name is Jan Nieuwenhuis, which I believe means new house in Dutch. And he's also called Jan Gold. Anyway, Money Aristotle writes, derives its name from nomisma, from nomos, meaning not valuable by nature, but by custom. People create the value. They assign the value. They make things money. And then I said, JP Morgan said, gold is money, and everything else is just nature. Keep that in mind. The people create and choose what money is. There's no law or rule, no law of nature. When people say gold is money, period, it's always been money, silver is money, period. No, it's not period. It's silver and gold that were money because people made the determination, and Aristotle also wrote about this, fungible, valuable, durable, divisible, came up with the properties of money. But it doesn't mean that for all time, gold and silver are money. People will decide what money is in the future, just as horses were always transportation. They no longer are transportation today. They are pets. They are fine animals that people bet on running around in a circle. Anyway, let's move on and now into the cryptocurrencies. What's up in the crypto news? Some interesting news here. This one goes to adoption. There's a company called Bitrefill now lets you pay for your Airbnb rentals with 5 cryptocurrencies. So they have these gift cards. You load them up with the cryptocurrencies, and then you can use them to pay at Airbnb. And the coins involved are Litecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bcash, and Dogecoin, making an appearance in the Bitrefill card. Now, chartist, I'm not a chartist, but people are saying that, at least CoinDesk Markets, that Bitcoin has pierced its long-term downward trend, and it is indeed heading higher. I don't know if it has anything to do with the chart, but there are people who will say it does. It's a price never set a new low after breaking a similar downtrend line in 2015. A lot of people are making the 2015 chart comparisons. Lightning Network news. A couple of bits of news here. Charlie Lee, who is he? Well, he's the guy who invented Litecoin, and he got the lightning torch. That's been going around. Jack Dorsey has received it. Elizabeth Stark of Lightning Labs has received it. And now it has been Satoshi Light or Charlie Lee getting his shot at taking and then passing on the torch. Another significant piece of Lightning Network news is the world's first Lightning-enabled Bitcoin ATM was created this week. Interesting. I don't know exactly what he did. The guy's name right here is to the far right. His name is Felix Weiss. There's another video of him showing how it works. I think that's probably necessary because I think Bitcoin ATMs, there's a bit of a wait sometimes at them. So this way you wouldn't have to wait, I suppose, is the issue with the Bitcoin ATM. What else? Litecoin news, interesting. It's getting a lot of mainstream news for a kind of an altcoin. Litecoin price sets first Q1 performance record for it, and that's a pretty big deal. And I'll show you the Litecoin. What are these people called? The Light School made this chart here that shows that this is the best fourth quarter ever. Now, 2018 was a good first quarter, but then it fell off, and 2017 led to a record year. So who knows what any of this stuff means, but a quarter does not a year make, but there it is, doubled in the first quarter of 2019 in a supposed bear market. So that's fairly auspicious, I might say. Now, before we get to the ETF news, a couple of investment notes. The guy who owned or started TechCrunch, he has a crypto fund called Arrington XRP, and he's raised $100 million. We talked about this the other day. There's no shortage of money flowing into this space. More money flew into this space last year, 2018, during the bear market than any of the prior years, and it looks like we're on a healthy clip in the first quarter, and they haven't even launched backed yet. But one other interesting one here, we also talked about yesterday, or 2 days ago, we were going through all of the way that governments were embracing cryptocurrencies, and one of them, we mentioned Wyoming, but we also mentioned New York has a thing called a bit license. So we sort of showed how Robinhood, the trading platform, got itself a bit license. The Winklevoss twins, who run the Gemini fund and the Gemini trading platform, they also have a bit license. Well, Peter Thiel's crypto brokerage Tagomi also just got a bit license. So for those people who are saying that the government's going to crack down on it, no, they're going to regulate it. This is classic evidence that they know that there's money to be made from it. They can track it, they can trace it, they can tax it, and their rich political supporters will make sure that that happens. And Peter Thiel has no shortage of money, I would imagine. I think he was a co-founder of PayPal, I believe. Yep. One of those Silicon Valley type companies. All right, let's get into the SEC news. Now, there are two pretty big Bitcoin ETFs that are pending. One is the Van Eck Bitcoin ETF, which they're doing in conjunction with the CBOE, which is a pretty big deal. And Van Eck is a very big deal in general in the ETF space. I think they run GDX and GDXJ, the gold mining ETFs. So they've got some experience in the ETF space, but they've delayed them. They didn't really say why. They've got these review periods. They have to come up with a decision as of whatever the date was that just passed. And if they don't come up with a decision by then, they got another 45 days. And if they don't come up with one, then they've got another period of time. Long and short of it is, I think it's by October. If they don't have it, then it's done. But it looks like they'll keep expanding this time period as they try to get more comfortable with and get more questions answered about how these ETFs are going to operate. And this guy, Gabor Gorbaks, he is the person running, the point person on the Van Eck Bitcoin ETF. And he breaks the news here. SEC extends the review period of the Van Eck Solid X Bitcoin ETF. He said it was expected. Yeah, the next milestone is in May. And he says, we'll keep you updated with public information and timeline. He says they're fighting the good fight together. We also heard from the guy from Bitwise. Well, here's just another news notice. SEC delays Bitcoin ETF applications. We're talking about the Van Eck one and the Bitwise one. But I heard this one for the first time. His name is, what's his name? The CEO is Hunter Horsley. And he is the person who's pushing the Bitwise ETF. Now, quick primer on what the issues have been with the SEC approving a Bitcoin ETF. The first was storage. Can the ETF operators assure that the assets that they purport to have are properly held, proper custody, and properly insured? And that issue, I think, and both, I think Gabor said, and so has Hunter Horsley, that issue seems to be put to bed. I think they're comfortable now. We do now have institutional storage solutions, many of them from a lot of the major companies that do storage for other assets. So that it seems there's just one issue remaining, and that is the size of the market, the liquidity of the market, and whether there's manipulation. And Bitwise did a very clever thing. They actually did a survey, and they came up and they said, look, good portion, maybe 90% of Bitcoin trading is BS. It's just wash trades and back and forth, and it's not real. However, he did identify that there's 10 legitimate exchanges, meaning that there's real liquidity like Coinbase or GDAX and Binance, and that those markets have, in some respects, the proper market surveillance sharing agreements, and there's over-the-counter agreements where they have surveillance. So they think, it sounds, reading between the lines, that they're cautiously optimistic that the SEC will approve these ETFs at some point. Now, one of the examples I gave is this. So Dan DeFrancesco, I don't know who he is, but he says another interesting point from Hester Prynne. Remember who Hester Prynne is? Hester Pierce. She is Bitcoin mom. She is one of the SEC commissioners. She's all in favor. She dissented when they voted against the last Bitcoin ETF. She said, while media coverage of Bitwise Invest Report has been mostly negative regarding the amount of fake trading of Bitcoin, Pierce views it as a positive. Said it's great to see some exchanges, those 10 exchanges that Bitwise identified with tight spreads and robust trading. And the way I made an analogy to that is there's a lot of fraudulent trading going on at pawn shops, back and forth, and the spreads are not tight. I've heard stories of people bringing in gold coins and getting offered 50% on the spot price of gold. And these pawn shops do a very brisk business. However, there's also gold trading at COMEX and LBMA. You know, whatever you think about those exchanges, they do meet the SEC standard of having tight spreads and robust trading. So volume inevitably does shift to those regulated OTC markets, even though you have pockets of unregulated trading still occurring. So I think it was very clever of Bitwise to present that information, and interestingly enough, Hester Pierce does view that as a positive, according to Dan DeFrancesco, and I don't know who he is, but somehow he had information on that. All right, so we don't know when or if those Bitcoin ETFs will get approved. We don't know when or if Backed will get approved, but that hasn't stopped the money flowing into to the cryptocurrency space and into cryptocurrencies themselves. Before we get to Moronica, just an interesting story about oil. Now, we've been talking about oil and the U.S. becoming the largest oil exporter, producer, and a lot of that has to do with the shale. Well, what was en route coming up was Trump had wanted to open up Alaska oil drilling, where supposedly there's like 30 billion gallons of barrels of oil just waiting to be pulled out. And one Ninth Circuit judge said you can't do that because Obama had, I'm not sure how it works legally. I think the president can declare an area off limits to whatever drilling, and Trump said, okay, well, now I'm the president, and I say it's not off limit. And of course, the Ninth Circuit judge said, no, you can't do that. The statute only allows the president to declare off limits, doesn't allow another president to undo that. And I don't even know how that's going to work. The other interesting thing, this is the Ninth Circuit. Trump has already put about 6 or 7 new judges on the Ninth Circuit. He's got 2 or 3 more pending, and they are that's all the West Coast. Dianne Feinstein and the other one, Kamala Harris, are really annoyed because there's supposedly this tradition where the senators get to make recommendations on judges that might fill circuit appointments in their areas. And Trump said, I'm not listening to you. And he nominated his own people. And as you know, the way those people get approved, the district court, the Supreme Court, and the circuit court judges, they all get approved via Senate approval, simple majority. And the Republicans have a 53-47 majority in the Senate. So far, all of their judges have gone through. I think one got nixed, but then they just nominated another one, and that one got in. All right. And now, I believe, yes, indeed, it is time for... Uh-oh. We got a moron here.
Presenting the distinguished international news commentator and foreign correspondent,
Smaulgld. This has been an extraordinary week in world affairs.
No, I told Hillary Clinton that that's moronic.
Okay. Well, there's news about Mexican countries. Now, what are Mexican countries? Well, I think we're going to get some evidence of what Mexican countries are. Trump, over the weekend, decided he's had enough of El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras not doing enough to stop people from leaving their country, packing up, going to Mexico, and then coming to the United States, he views illegally. So he decided he's cutting off foreign aid to El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, and he's also told Mexico, if you don't stop these people coming to the United States next week, I'm shutting the border. I'm not kidding around, or I'm not fooling around, or whatever. Something very similar to that. So Fox News is reporting on Trump cutting off foreign aid to El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras, and they had this on the screen. Trump cuts aid to 3 Mexican countries. I guess he was talking about Guatemala, Honduras. I I don't know what Mexican countries are, but this type of, I don't know if this is intentional or not, but this type of ignorance is not uncommon in the United States. I knew somebody once who was speaking to a Puerto Rican woman, and he said, wow, he said, it's really cool, you're from Puerto Rico. It must be nice, you know, to have traditional Mexican meals like tacos. And she says, what? I'm from Puerto Rico. And he says, what part of Mexico is that from? So you really do have this, I don't know what Mexican countries are, but it's out there. Americans live in a large country. They don't really know their borders much. I mean, it's hard enough knowing the 50 states, I suppose. I mean, if you live in Europe, you only have 27 member states. So maybe that's the excuse why Americans don't quite understand the rest of the countries in the world. Now, in other bits of Moronica, this is an official campaign shirt from the Trump campaign. Pencil neck Adam t-shirts, $28. This is not like this isn't Mark Dice or just some group trying to make a buck. This is the official Trump campaign, little pencil neck Adam Schiff. He spent 2 years knowingly and unlawfully lying and leaking. He should be forced to resign, and everyone should buy a pencil neck Adam Schiff shirt today. No collusion, 100% pencil neck, limited edition. Now, these are going for a whopping $28. That's quite expensive. Remember, if you want to get a real shirt for $20 tonight, 25% off, you can get a This Guy Smaulgld t-shirt. So you decide. I don't think the Trump campaign is going to be wanting for money, and probably you won't get any harassment. Well, if you like to get harassed for people get harassed for wearing MAGA hats, I know that. You probably get harassed for wearing a pencil neck t-shirt. People don't know what a This Guy t-shirt is, and maybe you might get some interesting conversations started if you buy one of those, but you decide. Okay, what else do we have? I think, yep, that's it, unless we've got any questions. We will take your questions, but I think it's time now. I'll show you a mugshot and some dogs. Get it? Mugshot, see? There's a mug. It's in the lineup, 5'6". Then there's a, let me show you some dogs. And then we're going to play you the 18 reasons. Look at this guy. Here's Buddy. Look at Buddy. I know you guys are waiting for Lucky too. There's Buddy with his Smaulgld classic mug. And here's Coco with his Smaulgld pet bowl. Ready to have a little meal there. Who else do we got? There's Lucky. Let's see if he shows up. Nope, he's not going to show that one. He's still not straight up. Lucky, here we go. Lucky on the bed, on the floor with his mug and pillow. I'm looking for Pug Mug. Here's Pug Mug. There's the nice looking little pug there with both the classic and super classic mugs. See if I got any cat photos with the mugs. And then we're going to play 18 reasons why you should buy a Smaulgld mug. And on the other end of that, I'll take your comments. Let's see, do I have any cats? I want to see some cats here. Another mug shot. We need one more with the cats. It's Lisa Morning Mayan. Let's see if we can find her. Here she is. Our mug stackers. There you go. Isn't that nice? Nice looking white cat there. All right. All right, now we're going to play 18 reasons why you should buy a Smaulgld mug. Ten reasons why you should buy a Smaulgld mug. Reasons to buy and hoard mugs. Number 1. Mugs have been used for drinking for more than 5,000 years. Number 2. They are finding more uses for mugs every day. Number 3. We could not live our lives without mugs. Number 4. The Russians and Chinese are buying mugs hand over fist. Number 5. Mugs are made in China. Number 6. Mugs are hard assets. Number 7. Mugs are real wealth. Number 8. Mugs cannot go to zero. Number 9. Mugs are portable. Number 10. Mugs are drinking vessels, period. Wait, there is more. You can mix Mountain House in a mug. You can carry your barter silver in a mug. You can do many things with mugs that you cannot do with fiat currencies. Measure your wealth in mugs. They have mugs at the offices of JP Morgan and central banks. That is all you need to know. When the excrement hits the fan, you'll want to have your Smaulgld mug close by. Buy your Smaulgld mugs today. Reasons to buy and hoard mugs. Number 11. You can stack mugs. As you can see here, mugs are stackable. Add to your mug stack today. Buy a Smaulgld mug. Reasons to buy and hoard mugs. Number 12. You can put coffee in a mug. As you can see here, someone very clever has done so. Buy a Smaulgld mug today. Reasons to buy and hoard mugs. Number 13. You can put cognac in a mug. As you can see here, someone is thinking of putting cognac in a mug. Buy a Smaulgld mug today. Reasons to buy and hoard mugs. Number 14. You can display a mug on a studio soundboard. As you can see here, someone has displayed a mug on a studio soundboard. This highlights how versatile mugs can be. Mugs can be put in countless places, and we intend to show you as many of those places as possible. Buy a Smaulgld mug today. Reasons to buy and hoard mugs. Number 15. Mugs do not require electricity. As Smaulgld subscriber Wild Bill points out, mugs will still be usable after an EMP. Mugs do not require electricity. Here is a picture of a Smaulgld mug and another Smaulgld mug. They will look the same before and after an EMP and never require electricity. Buy a Smaulgld mug today. Reasons to buy and hoard mugs. Number 16. Mugs are undervalued. The price of mugs is about the same price as it was 10 years ago. This means that mugs are one of the most undervalued assets on the planet. Buy a Smaulgld mug today. Reasons to buy and hoard mugs. Number 17. You can hold your keys in a mug. Keys are very important. You can hold your keys in a mug. As you can see here, someone has put their keys in a mug. Buy a Smaulgld mug. Reasons to buy and hold mugs. Number 18. You can defend yourself with a mug. Mugs make great defensive weapons. In many states, you can open carry mugs. In all states, you can conceal carry mugs. Protect yourself with a mug. Buy a Smaulgld mug today. Alright, that's it. Those are your 18 reasons. If you needed any more, you're not catching on. Alright, let us see if we've got comments today. Alright, Ann is back from Hatteras Island, and Johnny on the spot is catching up, and Ann's filling them in. What else do we have? Okay, Fiona's here, Pablo is here, De La Villa is here. I'm scrolling back. If you need the links for those mugs, all you got to do is scroll back, and you can catch them. This guy mug, beer Stein mug, travel mug, espresso mug. Pablo asks if my license plate is Mug Life. It should be, but never been one for vanity license plate. Never had one. Pablo, let's see, De La Ville. He tells De La Ville that Lucky is snoozing beside him. Yes, indeed. Lucky, we've seen Lucky already tonight. All right. Not many questions here. Ask Smaulgld for money. He's making a lot from selling mugs. Actually, no. And in fact, now when they put them on half price, I get half the commission. So it's like $1.03 probably instead of $2.06 per mug. I'll do it for silver. What else? Well, you guys are really having a discussion about Hatteras Island. Okay. Coins AZ is here. Philip has shown up. No questions yet. DB stupid. Alaska pipeline is running at 30%. If it dips much slower, it can't flow in winter. They have to drill. That as a fact. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do. Ninth Circuit. I actually think, and Justice Clarence Thomas on the Supreme Court commented on this the last time, I think when they overturned the travel ban. he actually wrote this. He wrote an opinion where he's saying we pretty much have to stop this ability of one circuit court judge anywhere in the country being able to hear a case and stop something of national interest. Now, in this case, it did happen in their circuit, but you see that a lot now. All you have to do is go forum shopping. You find one judge, and they can put a spanner in the works, so to speak, because what then happens is you may have an en banc, which would mean other members of the circuit will join in and hear the case, and then if they still rule the way that the one rogue judge went, then it has to go to the Supreme Court, and it's pretty much a waste of time, and it's somewhat, I believe, and so does Justice Clarence Thomas, it's abuse of judicial power. It's not really, there's nothing that prevents it, and I think they probably should. One judge can decide to, for example, shut down the president's immigration ban. Now you think, well, that's good because that ban is no good. Well, that's just politics. I'm just talking about from a judicial setup that it's not a good idea. All you have to do is find one judge, especially when it gets overturned 70 or 80% of the time when you get these judges acting in this fashion. We'll have to follow that and see where all that goes. 3 Mexican countries, DW says. Doesn't anyone study geography? Yeah, I don't understand. How can you even... You can call them Central American countries. Guatemala, El Salvador, and Honduras, but they're not Mexico. They're, I guess, maybe they were thinking countries that border Mexico, maybe something like that. I don't know what they were thinking. All right, cute doggies. Coco. Fiona asks, Lewis, Americans aren't taught geography at school. No reason to expect they'll be able to name the countries properly. Yeah, but you don't come up with Mexican countries. And you don't ask somebody from Puerto Rico if they like traditional Mexican food on the assumption that they're Mexican. And then when you say, no, you see, I'm from Puerto Rico. And it's like, well, what part of Mexico is that from? Okay. Anne has not sent her mugshot yet. DW says he plays 18 Reasons because he has to use the bathroom. Nah, I stayed here and listened. In fact, if you saw what I did, I was actually showing pictures. Didn't match what the 18 Reasons is. If you want to see the video that matches the audio, you have to type in reasons to buy mugs and it'll show up. I know I stayed here and I put up the dog pictures. I make sure I go to the bathroom before I get on the air. Johnny on the spot. I invested in 8 cans of beer today and I'm down 25% on my investment. See, that's why you need mugs. You pour the beer into the mug and the mug remains and the mug retains its value. As Archie Bunker once said, you can't buy beer, you can only rent it. All right, what else? My kids spent grade school waiting on the kids to learn the basis. Fiona. What else? Janet in the spot. Instead of increasing the military budget by $50 billion this year, how much good would it do in the U.S. education system? Probably not any good at all. The problem with the education system isn't money. I think California spends the most money, and they're very, very poor. Education, for the most part, other than the highest levels of education, isn't a function of money. It's teaching techniques. It's the learning that happens outside of the classroom and at the home. If you have kids with either single parents or parents that are not paying attention and they don't do anything at home before they go to school, in the years before they go to school, or they learn anything, and they just send the kids to school and they expect the kids to learn stuff at school. And then you have teachers that are there and they don't really care. You can pay them more money, but the teachers, that's not going to make them teach any better. I was a school teacher, so I'm not talking against teachers, but I've seen it, is that once they have tenure, a lot of them take the attitude of you stop running once you catch the bus, and they don't really make sure that they teach, and they resist all types of teacher incentives to make sure that they don't get paid as much if the kids don't do as well. I'm mixed on that one because that gives the teacher an incentive to cheat too, and we've seen now that, so I don't know what the answer is, but I'm sure it's not sending a lot of money off that way and hoping that it works. All right. Well, I want to thank everyone for joining me today. Make sure you pick up your mugs, and we will see you tomorrow night. We'll probably get India, or maybe try not to. You know, a lot of people say, can't you do shorter videos? And I can do one video just on India and make it 10 minutes, one video just on the US Mint, one video just on this Bitcoin ETF. I mean, we talked about that for like 5 or 10 minutes. It's just that I don't have the time to do a series of short videos, and some of you like to join every night and spend an hour with me. So that's all I have time to do, and so that's what I do. Not making excuses for it. It's not my full-time job. So thank you very much, and we will see you tomorrow night, unless we have any questions or comments in the next 10 sections. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good night.